2 years ago, I woke up with someone banging on the window, and I'll describe the window was set into a very thick stone wall. Our house was a Heritage National Trust recognised early bluestone house in Kyneton. It had been built by the Watson family who came out from northern England. The English-Scottish wars were having too much of an influence on their life. So they arrived in Australia on the good ship Fanny. Now you couldn't call a ship the Fanny today. So nonetheless, they got here safely. And all the adult males in the family were stonemasons. So they built the CUB brewery in Melbourne and then came up to Kyneton, building the railway bridges as they came. And then built Highbank, which was a wonderful two-storey bluestone house with a stables and a tack room and a very big barn. And I thought all my dreams had come true when I found this ramshackle, perfectly sound, but ramshackle, because as you know, with old houses, things get added on and added on and added on. And levels, well, I think we had 4 levels in the house. And I was very content. I thought this was my forever house. And I've moved a lot in my life. So one morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, there's a bang on the window. Michael, come quickly, the chimney's on fire. Now I have a very well developed sense of humour, and I won't tell you exactly what I said, but it wasn't polite. But I said, what could Michael do at 5 o'clock in the morning with a burnt chimney? Michael, the chimney's on fire. It's on fire. Oh, really? So I struggled out of bed in my nightgown, put on my gardening boots and my gardening coat that was, well, it's always near me. Struggled out the door to see the stables on fire. The people staying in the B&B had overloaded the wood fireplace and had rattled the flue so much that it had cracked. The fire brigade could do nothing about it. The good people, by the way, had not called the fire brigade, but they had packed their car and the engine was running, and as soon as we were told the chimney was on fire, they took off. So, you know, human nature is interesting. So I called the fire brigade and I added, please do come quickly, and they said fine. So there am I waving down fire brigades in the dawn of a cold winter's morning. And they arrived and they were magnificent. I have to say, my heart goes out to the CFA and the local fire brigades because they were nothing short of amazing. They were very bossy, very bossy. I was told who I could speak to and who I shouldn't speak to. I was desperate to run the whole show, as you would expect, but nope. I had to stand over there, and if I didn't stand over there, I was to go out into the middle of the road and not bother them, which I thought was interesting. However, the fire caught very quickly, very, very quickly, and we ended up with, I think, 16 fire trucks in the garden and the barnyard, and we had the big fire crane from Bendigo. Now, on a good day, it takes you about 40 minutes to get down and up and down the hills from Bendigo to Kyneton. They did it in 27 minutes. Now, it's a very big, many tons of truck. I'd love to have been on that ride. It would have been thrilling coming up and down the hills of Bendigo, but anyway. They broke through the roof, but the roof had burned, the floors had burned, the stairs had burned, everything in the house had burned, but the walls remained firm. Now, through all this, I'll touch on my reaction, was complete numbness. I was very functional. I wasn't emotional at all. I was shocked. I was more angry with the people who'd nicked off and not called the fire brigade, because that was 20 minutes we could have had. But that's what had happened, so I dealt with it. I got the animals out. The dogs were put in the car. A very, very large, strong CFA woman carried our very, very large cockatiel cage out, with Rosie squawking her head off, very annoyed at being woken up early in the morning, the bird I mean. But she was carried out and put down the bottom garden so she could watch everything. I did not think for 1 minute of getting out the documents, the passports, the photos, clothing, Nothing. It was the dogs, the cat and the bird. That was it. We had a timber part on the front of the house, and eventually the CFA gave up on the timber house, which was subsequently able to be saved. But someone said, "What do you want out of that?" And I said, "Don't laugh." I said, "Am I KitchenAid?" I think I might want to cook a cake. I was pathetic. We had no clothes, we had nothing. And here am I worried about making a cake. It was irrational. And I think if anybody had expected anything sensible from me for the next 2 days or so, it wouldn't have happened, it couldn't have happened. I had no great sense of danger. I had no sense of, I had a sense of gratitude to the CFA and to the people who'd helped us, but I didn't have anything other than anger that it happened. And this was the unburnable stone house of my dreams, and how could it burn? And anyway, so what followed was the insurance wrangle of the decade. I didn't want my stone house demolished. I could see perfectly good ways of recreating it into a very sensible home. No, it all had to be demolished. Can you believe it? Kyneton is blue stone central, and this 160 years of walls that are this thick all came down. Wasn't a crack in a wall anywhere, but it was because the lime mortar had shrunk, and each wall was about 10 centimetres lower than it had been previously. So it was deemed unsafe. Well, it was not unsafe in my opinion, but nonetheless. The insurance company put us in the control of their architect, in the control of their builder. And of course, we were cajoled into a particular kind of replacement building. Yes, it meets the repayment cost. Yes, you know, the repayment amount. Yes, we are very fortunate. It's going to be a very nice house, but it's not a house that I would ever buy. It's not my style of house. So therefore, I'm not approaching this whole process happily, and therefore I'm probably not getting the joy out of recovery that I should. And that is a contradiction. I know that. I've survived, I've got people looking after me, but I'm still not happy. Some would say I'm greedy. I don't think so, because all I needed to do was do a different house. It was no big deal. A lot of egos get displayed when building happens. Boy, oh boy, do those egos come through. You know, engineers arguing over footings, roof people arguing over roofs, architects not knowing some of the things that we had hoped would be included, architects specifying things that were positively extravagant rather than practical. It's a very draining process. And then all the while, we are homeless, absolutely homeless, but fortunately covered by insurance. We have made 10 moves in 2 years. I'm over it. I have to tell you quite honestly, if all of these people who have had their homes destroyed are as portable and mobile, shall we say, as we have been, that I feel very, very sorry for them, because you're travelling all the while with an insecure feeling about your life, and all you want is to go back to where it was, and it will never be there. But it's convincing yourself that you need to be happy about what is coming that I'm finding very difficult. Michael has been very stoic. He's a very clever man, and he's my rock, but I think he's badly affected by it too. So the future, yes, one of optimism. I do have some optimism about what I can do. I'm studying. There was nothing else I could do. Horticulture, yes, I can continue reading, but I can't sit for exams. I can't be specific about what I was learning or what the topics were for where I was at. I thought I might teach myself a language. No, or online. My garden was gone, my library was gone, my sewing machines were gone, my computer was gone, all my files were gone. So there was no framework for my particular type of work around me. And so I took up the pretty amazing pathway to being a marriage celebrant. Now, don't ask me why. I don't know. I'm not very good at marriage. So, except I really love my husband, but you know, for me being a marriage celebrant, there would be many people who'd fall about laughing. So anyway, but nonetheless, we're allowed. I called myself Hatch, Match and Dispatch. You know, you can naming ceremonies, marrying people, and then burying them. Now, I didn't know that all came in one package, but it's going to be interesting, I can tell you. I'd rather be a cook, you know, but I don't have a kitchen, so there you go. For those that have lost everything, as somebody said, whose name was Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going. Just keep going. There's no point in stopping because you'll still be in hell. You will get to the end of it. You will, by everything that's possible, you will get through. You will recover what you want life to be, but it won't be what it was. It never can be. And so the community gets behind you, the people are fabulous. There were plenty of people who've asked me, are you okay? But you don't tell them. I've always felt that if you were asked how you were, it's a burden to be terribly truthful to people. You don't really want to burden them with me being utterly miserable. So you put on a bright face. But it's nice that they ask. But the offers of help from our community were astonishingly generous. And I think that's part of being Australian too. I really do. I think that's in our nature, to be generous and to be outgoing and helpful in every possible way. The police, the ambulances, the CFA, the fire brigade, all of those people one day I want to be able to thank personally. But anyway, that'll happen. But life goes on, and it's lovely people like Eileen who ask me to come and talk to you about things like this that I love doing. Thank you for listening to my story. There's lots more to it. But suffice to say, I empathise totally with the people who have lost everything. It will come good. Thank you.